So the lighting's a bit trash. Ooh, what the heck is going on here, girl? Anyway, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this video, this vlog. Today we're gonna be cooking, because in my previous vlog, if you haven't watched it, please, thank you very much. Anyway, let's continue with people who have watched that vlog, right? So I mentioned that we were gonna make polenta together, which is today. Today for dinner we're gonna have polenta and lamb chops. I feel like it's a vibe, why not? So we're gonna cook polenta together, but before that we're gonna go run some errands. So we've got a few things to buy. I think I'm gonna go to Clicks and maybe, I don't know, maybe Willie's. Do I need anything from Willie's today? I don't know. And also get some measurements done for something special, honey, because something special coming up. So we're gonna get those measurements done for a little gorgeous number for a dress. Anyway, so let's get going. As usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the girl. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers, so let's get it popping. So we're gonna start off with our thawed lamb chops. I got mine from Willie's, and make sure they're really thawed out, like there's no ice. And all we're gonna do is drizzle some olive oil and just mix it all in there. Usually I use my hands, but you know, for video purposes we're not gonna use my hands. Anyway, next you want to add some onion powder, and then some garlic powder, and of course ginger. This is kind of our base for our meat, just to start off the flavors in there. You can obviously use whatever you prefer, but you know, for my recipe, for what I like, this is basically my base, my go-to base: garlic powder, onion powder, and ginger. And you want to be very generous with how you season your meat, because remember, we're gonna put this in oil and it's going to literally kind of fizzle off and burn off. So make sure to thoroughly coat your meat. Next, you want to use your steak and chops or meat and chop seasoning. Usually it's steak and chops that's I use, but today I'm using this one. It's more or less the same kind of vibe. I prefer the steak one, but this one is also pretty good. And you just want to repeat the process. Then you want to put in your biryani mix. Now this is a whole vibe. If you know, you know. This is fire. This literally it elevates your meat. Then you want to add in some coriander leaves. This literally brings the flavors together, basically. And then we put it in the fridge. Next, we're going to be using our polenta. This is how it looks. This one is also from Willie's. Like, I think Willie's should sponsor the girl, but anyway. You want to have your chicken stock. This is the one I'm using. And then you also want to use some butter. You can pick which butter you want to use, but this is the butter I have on hand. This is the butter I usually have on hand. If it's not this one, it's usually the salted butter, and I like this one because it's light. Also, you want to add in some mozzarella. Now you want to heat up your stove, heat up your pot, make sure it's nice and hot. You want to add your chicken stock. Literally, I just added the chicken stock. There's nothing in there. Then, as you can see, I'm adding in some hot water. Now, the measurements for this, I feel like you can kind of eyeball it yourself, because that's what I kind of did. But yeah, I'm showing you nonetheless, if you want to get kind of a clue. So I use 3 over 4 pints of water versus a half a pint of chicken stock, and just let that come to a boil, like a hard boil, if we could call it at that. Now, while that is sizzling and boiling, we are gonna start with the polenta and get it going. So just some fun facts about polenta. It's actually Italian pap, like it's literally Italian pap, but it's fire and it's less calories, and it's tastier. So what I do, my trick, so we don't want those lumps, I put a little bit of cold or lukewarm water in a bowl. I use my whisk, and then I pour my polenta in the bowl before we pour it into the pot. That kind of makes it mix with the water and not have it lumpy once I put it into my boiling hot pot of mixtures of chicken stock and water. Now let me know in the comment section if you guys also do this when you're making pap, or I don't know, let me know. Anyway, once your chicken stock and water has mixed together well and came to a boil, you just want to basically, it's supposed to be gradually, but I ended up just dunking everything in because it was already mixed in, and you just want to whisk it. So basically the point here is to make sure that there's no lumps and bumps and your polenta is nice and smooth. So this is how I do it. Now this is not how you're supposed to do this, but this is what I do. I don't know, is that how they say it? Anyway, that was so dry. So you just want to mix it in there. Like I told you, I just kind of chuck the whole thing in. Now don't worry, it looks very watery. It's gonna come thick in a minute. So we're just gonna let it boil. If you feel like it's too watery, you can add in some polenta, of which I did as well. And while I was whisking it, also make sure to reduce your heat. So we're cooking this polenta for 30 minutes on low heat. Make sure you don't burn it, and see that goodness. Oh, this tasted so good, so good. So you want to cook it on low heat for about 30 minutes, and we occasionally going to check it. Right, let's get onto this lamb chops. Now my lamb chops have been in the fridge for about an hour and a half. It's supposed to be 2 hours, but it was like an hour and a half, and everyone was starting to get hungry. So this is how they look. I put them in the fridge just for them to soak up the flavor, and then I added some garlic for more flavor, and I oiled my pan. Make sure before you put your meat on your skillet that it is flaming hot, right? Like sizzling hot. And then once you put your meat in, then you reduce the heat, and then you let it slow cook. That way it won't burn, it will cook right through, right? Good. So while that's on the stove, we're back on our polenta. We're checking it out. We're just giving it a nice mix so nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot. And as you can see, nothing is burning. Our edges are fine. Our edges are intact. What do you call it? The bottom of the pot is intact. So you don't want to over stir, but you want to give it occasional stirs, like maybe 4 to 5 stirs. Next, I'll be making a little bit of a sauce for my lamb chop so it's not so dry. So basically, let's call that a stick of butter, or half a stick of butter rather. So we're gonna, in a pan, add some butter. I had to just quickly check on my lamb chops, make sure they're cooking nicely. As you can see, they are slow cook, sizzling, yumsy dums. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a little bit more flavor to them, because like I mentioned before, the oil, a lot of the flavor is getting lost in the oil. So I'm just gonna add some Italian herbs and a little bit of salt. And the salt I'll be using is basically the pink salt. I just felt like it needed the Himalayan vibe. Himalayan vibe. Okay, back to our sauce. So we're gonna use the OG biryani mix into our melted butter, and then we're gonna add in some coriander leaves, and then we're gonna add in some Cajun seasoning. Now remember, this is just to kind of make sure that our meat is not dry and kind of bring and enforce back those flavors that we had earlier added on, you know, just an added bonus in there. And you want to bring those all to a simmer, as well as we're going to add in some ginger. Right, everything comes to a boil. Then we're going to re-add in some garlic chunks. And then we're going to do something cheeky and add some barbecue chipotle, well, smoky chipotle barbecue sauce. Not a lot. You don't want to go crazy with this because this is kind of heavy and we kind of want to keep our sauce very watery. So just add a little bit. While that simmers, we go back and check on our polenta. Remember, like if I haven't mentioned it before, you don't want it to burn, you don't want it to stick to the bottom, and you don't want to cook on high heat. So I'm just bringing you guys a little bit closer so you guys can see the fluffiness, the vision. I wish you guys could taste it through the screen. Like this was fire. This was such a hit. I'm just kind of showing you guys how we kind of fold it and make sure it's cooked thoroughly and there's no burns. No burns on the sides. Everything is fluffy and yummy. You know the vibes. Yeah, so this is how good it looks. Like I could taste it as I'm editing right now. You want to let it simmer a little bit more. Now taking the sauce back to the meat. Now the meat is almost ready, still slow cooking. We're gonna add our buttery ingredients back onto our lamb chops. This, like I said, remember, is just to enforce the flavors once again. Make sure the meat is not dry, make sure the meat is tender and soft and not burnt, and make sure it cooks right through with our ingredients. You want to keep adding sauce, you feel me? And you're going to repeat this process. Obviously, you're going to turn the meat around and add more sauce. Okay? Now, for our polenta, it is basically ready. So what you're going to do is you're going to add in some butter and you're going to fold the butter into your polenta. This is what brings it together. You're going to see in a moment what I mean. As I'm folding the butter in, look at how everything just makes sense. From it being a mess in our pot, we're molding it into one huge bowl rather. So it makes sense. So you see that fold? Like that is art, baby. Beautiful art. And by the way, after this, your arm is basically numb. See how it looks? The fold is done. It's buttery, yummy, nothing's burnt. I'm just basically showing you guys the trick of the trade. And that's how you want your polenta to look. Buttery, yummy, all in one setting. Now I'm gonna basically put my stove on low heat, like on 1, or basically just switch it off and let it simmer on the heated stove, and add some mozzarella for some vibes. Well, Parmesan cheese if you do. And this is the finished look. This is our polenta. I'm not so good at plating up, guys, so don't judge me. I'm not a chef. This is our polenta, our lamb chops, drizzled more of that sauce on top. Now this you can have with some veggies like some spinach or I don't know, whatever veggies you like, but I didn't show it in this clip. But yeah, that's how I make my lamb chops and polenta. Hopefully you guys do enjoy. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.